Alright, what I'm doing today is reloading some 45 long Colt. Everything up to this point in the case, prep, priming, standard, just like always. But what I'm going to end up doing is taking these 45 ACP 451 diameter semi-wide cutters that are copper plated like berry bullets, and I'm going to load this deep in this side the case, below the case mouth. I've took the load data from a 45 gap, and I'm throwing 4.2 grains of tight group and then seating this bullet down to the depth that you would normally see on a 45 gap, which is an overall length of 1 inch and 0.80 or 80 thousandths, 1 inch 80 thousandths. So I have the 45 ACP die. This is the Lee factory crimp die that I made a seating pusher that will sink this inside the case. But you could find something that you could set on top of the bullet that would be stable, so you don't have to make a special die. One of the things that I ran into on this was this taper crimp needs to happen late in the seating of the bullet, or else you end up binding the bullet before it gets seated far enough in. So basically I'm getting the bullet down to where the crimp is happening after this part of the bullet has passed. So when it goes down, it's a smooth compression into the case, and then I get the taper crimp up above, which also collapses that flare that's you put around to start the bullet. So you can see the bullet is down inside. Now what I did was I measured the case length of a 45 Colt case, and then I took that 1 inch and 80 thousand and subtracted from that, and that gave me a 200 thousandths depth. So to the end of this bullet, to the end of the case here, that depth is 200 thousandths, and that's pretty consistent with all the cases that fall, I'd say 5 thousandths plus or minus. Now if you get a Hornady case, that's a little shorter, so you're gonna, really you need to do the math on taking the case length minus 1.080 and see what you come up with for your depth. But once you get your die set, that doesn't matter anymore, because you're consistently pushing this bullet to a depth that is equivalent to the 1.080 from the base of the bullet. So once everything is set up and you feel comfortable with it, then you should never have to mess with it again. I've actually dedicated this die to doing this so that I don't have to make adjustments to it. I made my mark here and my depth here, and once I got everything adjusted the way I wanted it, I said, okay, this die is only for these special loads. So what ends up happening is you have this reduced amount of empty case, which allows you to throw a lighter powder charge and still have consistent powder ignition, which improves your standard deviation and your stream spread and your velocities. And it translates into a much more accurate load. I took these to the range the other day, shot some, and man, they were really, I was very pleased with it. The groups were very nice. So I'm going back through this again today, and I'm going back to the range, and I'm going to shoot some more of these and see if it still holds true. But I'm really liking this because it is a very mild load and very consistent. So like I said, to make up that difference, to get that bullet to seat deeper, I made a custom seat plunger, whatever you want to call that thing, and I think if you find something that you can set on top of the bullet while you're pressing and using your standard die, smaller caliber bullet or something, where you can, you need something that's going to fit inside the case and still push down. If you try to use the standard 45 caliber seating plunger, it's going to hit the top of the case and then you're not going to get a good cramp. So use something to take up the difference. It's well worth it. You save a lot on powder, the accurate load, and if you're using these longer cases, the standard 45 long Colt case in your 45 long Colt cylinder, you don't have all that trash buildup like you do when you're using a 38 and a 357, or a shorter case than is actually the chamber is cut for. Get it started. Put it on. Press. And there it is. You can see maybe the point where the bullet stops. So you only have this much room for powder, and I've got a really light load, 4.2 grains tight group. Give it a shot. I think you'll really like this.